let the tape roll. As you start to pull out, we'll tell him to move. Okay, that's good. Gotta hit it again. That's good. Yeah. Just
You get the sound?
yeah, just go ahead and talk a little bit.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you got here on your paper?
Test 1 2 3 testing 1 2 3 testing 1 2 3 testing 1 2 3.
Okay.
Go ahead and give us a test.
Could you tell us about these papers here that you have in front of us? Punchia, city views?
It's a story about Geronimo, and
Can we have you just do that again? We cut off the top of your head there.
Should I introduce myself and introduce him? I think that'd be appropriate. All right. Hi, good morning. Could you tell us a little bit about your newspaper articles here that you have in front of us today?
well, to my left here, the paper is about CBQ fight that took place August 30, 1881, and there was a fight over a medicine man. They claiming that he's been having meetings with their people, ghost dance and witchcraft and what have you, and orders were come from the top to different commanders, and then they finally came to the medicine man, and they asked him that from the higher office that they want to arrest him, and he said, I'll go along, but give me 2 or 3 days, and then I'll go. And then the soldiers didn't trust him, so they arrest him, and of course all the Apaches were looking on the soldiers, and then they camp there at CBQ Creek, near the creek, and then there were a lot of things there. They asked one man, Hentic, I think Captain Hentic, to tell the Apaches to stay back from the camp. And Hentik, I guess, only knew go away means was it, and then before you know, a fire came, and Hentik died instantly on the spot, and there was another one that died, and all the Apache scout, the Indians, turned on the soldiers, and then they already had the medicine man, and the medicine man was killed right after that. They ordered to kill medicine man right away, and so they killed him, and so the fight broke out, and that's where they had a lot of these soldiers were killed. 6th Cavalry. The guy that was in charge was Carr, and his monument is out here now, and the soldiers that fought, and the monument we'll be looking at, I guess, was placed here on the fork, the cemetery. These fellows were buried first at CBQ, and then the soldiers went back and got them out, dug them out, and then buried here at the Fort Apache Cemetery. And then in 1930, they dug him out and took him to the Santa Fe. And then in 1970, when we had the centennial here, we had Colonel Warfield, who was who soldiered here in 1918, and my grandfather was Apache scout, and he knew my grandfather pretty well, and I got to know him through when I got a job here as a culture center director, through him. So he started corresponding, and I started corresponding, and then we finally met each other, and he came for the centennial. He was the main speaker, and he gave us a lot of books, he gave us lots of photographs, and lots of history about the Fort Apache gave back to the Culture Center, and we really respect the man, and help us brought back the monument. And Gus Quintero, who works for the tribe, drive a big truck. He and Canyon Quintero, we went to Santa Fe and got the big monument. I guess it weighs about a ton, I guess. But we enjoyed doing it, and but it's all history now. It's in the past, and we have maybe 2 or 3 that are on tape. The Apache view on the CBQ fight, but it's very interesting.
Yeah. On your other articles here about the arrest in '65.
Yeah. This is about the Geronimo, prisoner of war for many years, 81 years. Geronimo was captured in 1886, and first they shipped him to Florida, then from Florida to Alabama, and then from there to Fort Sill, Lotney, and then there he's been a prisoner of war for a long time, and then he died in 1909, and I believe that the prisoner of war was released in 1914, and a lot of these photographs we are collecting for the history for children that are coming up, and we'd like to save a lot of the articles, the archives, and anything that has to do with the Apaches. We like to gather all of these here at the Culture Center.
You have your dictionary. Could you tell us a little bit about your dictionary that you put together, and what possessed you to put it together?
Well, being Apache, I always real interested in the Apaches. In school, I always want to write about the Apache, you know, and I didn't know very much about the Apache. But here I'm live with my mother and dad, and you know, from a child on to say about 6 years old, I spoke nothing but Apache. And then when I went to first grade, there they began to teach me English, and it was very, very difficult for me to learn the English, and it was hard because I'm not used to speaking English all the time. I'm not used to reading the English papers, and the Apache language is a dead language, and there's no words are written down. No one has ever done it, and we just spoke it and lived with it for many, many years. And but I didn't know that the Wycliffe Bible translators, they call themselves summer linguists now, and they've been working with the Apaches for a long time. I don't know when they got in touch with the Apaches, but in 1954 they started on the New Testament Bible at Seneca, about 60 miles from here, where the San Carlos and the White Mountain Apaches they were having a church camp meeting. And this when the opportunity came for the Wycliffe Bible translators to go and work with these people to get the alphabet, the sound system, and get their own orthography written down. And so that's when they started working on the Bible, and the New Testament Bible is written and in Apache, and hymn books written and read right after that. And it's very hard for Apache to learn their own language in the phonetic system with the phonetic sounds, the consonants and the vowels, glottal stop, nasalization, and everything else they just don't understand. They know their language, but it was hard for them, and they didn't have the patience to learn. My wife and I were interested in, and we went to school, to Bible school in Kentucky for 3 years, 1960 to 1963, and then we came back to New Mexico, Dulce, Mexico, where the Hickoryas were, and these Wycliffe Bible translators were located at Farmington, New Mexico. So they heard of us, and so they came over to Dulce, and and since we were the only Apaches that are close by from White Mountain, so they came over, and they needed our help now translating the story about Moses, and so my wife and I helped with that, and we got interested in it, and there were some Navajo in the area that were trying to help us. Because they already knew how to read their language. Navajo and the Apaches the language are similar because they're Athabascan language. And so my wife and I started, let's say, in '63, and they keep in touch with us because we went to school in Plainview, Texas. I was majoring in sociology and minoring in art, and sociology really helped me, and with the anthropology or with the race of people, different classes, and because I live in Kentucky with the hillbillies, and I live with the Hickoryas, and I live with my people, the ethnic group, and then now in Texas, people, different people and different culture, and so it was a great opportunity, and I learned a lot of things through a lot of their habits. And so there we came back to reservation from Texas to New Mexico, and then we came back and we began to teach on the reservation. And we taught at CBQ. I taught 6th grade. My wife taught 1st grade, and then I came over to Fort Apache here, and I taught well, English 400. Helping the Indians to go drill through the English sentences and every day, because they were having a hard time of expressing themselves in English. And so we worked right along, and then they started a course here, the Apache language. My wife and I took it, and then they made me sort of assistant to help them along. So we worked with the instructor, and then in 1969 there was an opening here. This is just a pilot project for the tribe. They want a director for the culture center, and when I was at Plainview, I did term paper on the Apache, and generally, just not too much, but generally. But I thought there wasn't very much information there in Texas. But now, boy, it's just saying my cub is running over now.
When did you get your dictionary together?
Well, in '72.
'72.
Yes, in '72. We work. Well, the main purpose of the Culture Center is to gather all the oral history of our people, just like you're doing now, videotaping. We tape people, the old people, and we like to work with them at their pace, and go slowly and trying to get everything out of them, all the stories that they know. Maybe they know, let's say, the medicine, and then we'll try to get everything, and then even show us some of these herbs, and then maybe we'll go to another person that knows something else about the horse, or maybe something about tanning hide, and then maybe even social singing, or and go to the medicine man, and he'll sing all the songs and tell us what it is, and a lot of the stories. And so we got all of these tapes in Apache. They're all in Apache. Okay, what are we going to do with them now? We have these tapes, and are we going to transcribe into English? Yes, we have to, because we don't have any language. Okay, if we're going to do it, and if we're going to translate it into Apache, then, got to have a dictionary.
Yeah.
You got to have a dictionary. So that's how the dictionary was formed, is that we have to have a dictionary so it can be by us when we're translated in Apache. A lot of words we don't know, and we like to have an older person with us, and so the person, we could just ask the person's right here, and then they'll be just like a living history, but living dictionary, and they help us. And we have 2 ladies that are working with us now, and they're really helping us in this field. Well, these younger girls are typing away, are writing down, transcribing it, and then they don't understand a phrase or old word, and then they'll go to these old Apache ladies, and they'll give them, they'll ask them, and then they will tell them or explain to them what it is. And so it's very educational, and we're learning a lot, and we hope that we can put a lot of books together, volumes of books. We have over 400 tapes that we have interviewed people, and those people have died and gone, and we have taken pictures of them. I wish I was a photographer, but I'm not a photographer. I use instant matic camera, and Polaroid, and tape recorder, just for the translation, not for the radio and stuff like that.
So your dictionary, your language holds your people together then?
Yes. Well, the Apache language, I mean our language, our mother's language, Ton, is very important to the tribe, to any tribe. That's the main core of our culture, of our religion, of anything. The name of birds, animals, people, body parts, numbers, songs, colors, and the prayer.
Could you tell us some of these, the birds and body parts, maybe?
Well, the body parts would say my hands would be shikun. My hair would be shizil. My nose would be shichi. My mouth shizet. My eyes shida. And the whole body would be shitzi. And my chest would be my shitil. My stomach shipik. My knees would be shikuk. My feet would be shike. And so forth. There are many other things that I found interesting about the body part. Most of the Athabascan people seem like the body parts, the words to the body parts remain with most of all the Athabascan people, because the life, the body is so important, and it's dear, and it is important. And since they're close to the body, the hand is close to their body and mind, that everything is still there, the words and everything. What I'm trying to say is that, like Navajo would say all the body parts the same way, the Hickorea, the Muscalero, the Camp Verde, those Athabascan Indians seem like the body parts would be the same words, almost the same words in the body that we would say in the White Mountain Apaches. But when you begin to go outside and begin to point out different objects, then it becomes different because of the different probably terrain, a different animal in different places, for this Athabascan. But it's very interesting. Like the Navajo, they would say the horse, chi, a deer, they would say bi, and dog, they would say lichane. In the Hickorea, they would call the cat musha, and we would say giri. But we didn't have any domestic animals such as cat. Giri is just the English word where probably when the soldiers brought in the domestic animals, like giri, 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 come here, kitty. And that's where the Apaches caught on. And but like the cat family, like the bobcat, we call it ndoichbach, and then the mountain lion we call ndoicho. So if it's all in the cat line, then the little kitty cat shouldn't be kitty. It should be ndoi something, ndoi jaje, or something small. But so a lot of things, and just like body parts is interesting to me because and then like the Athabascan and maybe back in Canada also, or in Alaska, say about some of the same things, like fish, they would say hluk, and then the water, tu, and then the leaves, or the cottonwood leaves, chata, ita means leaf. And there's some interesting things that I'm learning about ourselves through the language, and it seems like you can see the footprints of where our people has come from.
Do you know any of the stories or the legends of the area, the peoples? Do you have any on file that you might be able to read to us?
Well, a lot of our people, they can't go back, way back, like some of the people can, because a lot of the old people can go way back because they're old and live so long. Like I said, because of the problem of writing the language down, that we didn't capture all the beautiful story probably way back there. But we have captured just some of that has still been carried on to the older people and have gotten it on tape. A lot of beautiful things. And the story of the flood. They said there was a flood here on the reservation one time. And some people don't believe that. And then and a lot of people say that, even the Eskimos and even the Chinese would say there was a flood. And even the Bible says that there was a flood. And I go all over these mountains. There's fossil all over the place. Even the White Mountain, if you go on a White Mountain, there's seashells. At the doorway, there's a rock and it has a seashell in it. So one time this was covered with water. And so there's a lot of beautiful stories, and it's just nice to be in it and let your imagination wander while these people are telling you. They're descriptive through their own language and through your own feelings, and it's just has a nice feeling about working with your own people.
These other books here, what do you have in there that you might be able to show us or tell us about?
Well, this is what we like to do. These are some of the legends of the White Mountain Apaches. Gane story about, let's say, the same thing with Christ. It's written in the phonetic in Apache, and then underneath it, it's described in English. And this is beautiful. I think this.
How long is that? Is that the whole book, or?
Yeah, this is the whole book all the way through.
Is there any phrases that you would like to read to us and then read it back into English after?
Well, dal keda jenis ai onata. That means keda means long time ago. Jenai means the sun. The sun. Onata means seems like it's going away and comes back. And so these are in our language, and this is what we like to do, because through the tapes and videotape and slides, and probably through the books and things like that, we like to do this and maybe illustrate it also in picture form, sketching. And so these are some of the books that we have. We like to do this, and I like to train our staff. We have our class here, try to have a class every morning, maybe for 10 minutes, and teach them the Apache language. We have 31 consonants, and we have the vowels, the Apache vowels. Like I try to teach them, this is ah, this is eh, and this is e. And trying to, this is very, very basic and elementary, and trying to teach them, because all of these vowels are like in Spanish. Ah, eh, and then e. And then the O, and then the U. Our O and the U are understood, I think, very easily, because U doesn't use very much. And then we have all of the other consonant with us, and I have them on cards, and we go through them. And then also we have the workbook, and I go with them through the workbook, and then trying to get them familiar with it, the sounds, and so they can help themselves as we translate. We have about 3 staff. One of the girls is secretary, doing a lot of typing and corresponding, sending dictionaries, and then another girl is say a translator. All she does is translate all the 400 tapes. You know, we're just touching very little of it. And then one of the other girls is the museum guide. She guides the people through the culture center and tell them about the Apache. And
Have to stop here.